great part about standing right here is that the sun is absolutely bright enough I can't see anybody, so this will make it easy.
Don't shoot yet, I have to go get my
Yeah,
camera.
that's okay. So my name is Kevin Custer. I get the great privilege of being Ken's son. And so what we're going to do, we have just a few people want to say things, just acknowledge Dad, kind of talk about him. And we're going to kind of go a little bit in chronological order, if that's okay. So Phil, you know that means you first because you've known my dad much longer than me, obviously. So Phil Steinmates was, in addition to my dad's best friend, he's also his best man from his wedding, and he's my godfather. So I'm going to turn it over to Phil for a second.
It has been a long time. Which one is Ken? I'm thinking back, we've been looking into the 50s and 60s that we got to know each other. We actually worked together at Channel 7. KOZ TV, which is totally different now, but we met there, became roommates in college, and just became lifelong friends. And we've been talking a little bit here. I was his best man, and he and Noel were married, and then he and Noel came all the way back to Iowa to be the best man for me when I married my wife. But it's been a great association because we've been friends for so long, and we meet on a regular basis. We belong to some of the same groups, but outside of that, we do try and get together, just have lunch and try and remember all those years back, and if we remember it right. So, but all I can say just very briefly is, Ken, congratulations. This is really nice. It's good to have people here celebrating this. And I would say this to everybody here: if you find a good friend like Ken, remember that person, spend a lot of time with them, don't lose track of them. It's a real pleasure to have someone like Ken. Thank you.
Dad, you should come on up here so people can talk to you. So you get to stand up here, okay? So we also have somebody who's doing, okay, all right. Fran, can I have you come up? Fran's also known Dad, which we can say he's known my dad almost as long as Phil, which we won't therefore discuss years and things like that.
Well, I've known Ken, what, about 18 years, 16 years? At least, oh, okay. Well, oh yeah, but we worked together for 16 years, 17 years. He had the office next to me, right next door, so we were more or less roommates for 16 years. So I know everything there is probably to know about him, because I could hear him through the wall. And I can honestly say this: I know nothing about him as far as any kind of secrets or any problems that it may have. He was the ideal working mate in there. He helped me out immensely when I needed it, and he was quiet, and every once in a while I'd go in his office and bum a cigarette from him, which he was more than happy to let me have. So, Ken, congratulations, and hopefully we'll be together for another 20 years. Yeah.
Sandy, do you want to, Sandy? You ready?
You talking to me?
Sandra, sorry. Sandra, sorry.
I'm chronologically third place.
Well, I have...
I just okay, well, I'll just say something. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. And Ken, I started to help with Summer Toast in 2004, and Ken, Marilee, Christine, tell them the story. Tell them what happened with that.
Careful.
Yeah, what is...
Movie over.
20-some years ago, we determined that there was nothing going on in the summer for all the organizations. So Marilee, Christine Cook, and I got together and we decided to try and throw a summer party for all organizations. And we went out to Coors Brewery, and Christine lined them up to use their courtesy bar and supply the beer. And we expected 100, 200 people to come out. We had 400 that showed up. And that started Summer Toast, which grew and grew, and then it got so big we went to Sandra and said, help, and she took it and grew it from there. And that was the start of Summer Toast, which went for 20 years.
No, but I like that. I like that you said that. It was 2003 to 2015.
Okay.
12 years.
12 years that Sandra was involved. So at any rate, it grew and we had a lot of fun and all the organizations participated. And Sandra did a great job of running it.
Well, I just want to share, thank you, Ken, thank you. Because to put on that event, and I kind of just designed it to bring in corporate sponsors and people with money and more food and more drinks, and everybody had a great time. And by the end of the day, I would be walking out in my backyard and saying, why am I doing this? And God, why am I doing this? And he would answer me, because you can. You know, and Christine coined the phrase PFN, pay for nothing. So we had all these people donate so much stuff, and everybody wanted to be connected to the marketing community. And Ken was our Connection King. We awarded Andrew Hudson, and we awarded Ken with the Connection King of Colorado. He just is the Connection King. But thank you so much for all the support. I would call Ken and say, I can't do this, I can't do this. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Remember those calls? I know. So I hope you go golf. I hope you go have a good time with your family. And I'm going to be right there behind you.
So I want to give a chance. Does anybody else want to come up and say something to that? Come on up.
I'm Tanya Roth. I'm with the Ad Club, and I've known Ken for probably a little over 10 years. We started with the Art Directors Club and then Ad Club, and known a while. Marilee is also a friend of mine, and she couldn't be here tonight, so she asked me to read a Ken story to you guys. So it says, Ken, I am so sorry that I can't be here tonight to honor you and your legacy. I have this silly thing called WORK, out of town. I guess you are going to be one of those retired folks that tell me that work is a 4-letter word now. We've been friends for more than 25 years and 3 associations together. We have always been a true supporter of each other and those associations. I am privileged to call you my friend. I want to share my favorite Ken story with the crowd tonight. Maybe 15 years ago or so, you stopped by my house to drop off some magazines. You came in and saw a framed photo on the wall and asked who was in it. You recognized the people that were in it. The photo was of my grandparents on their wedding day. You knew them because you were the editor of the newspaper at South High School, and you laid out the paper at my grandparents' print shop in Washington Park. After you left, I called my grandma and told her you were there and you remembered them. Her words were, "Little Kenny Custer was at your house? Little Kenny Custer? What a nice young man, and he was so cute with that bright red hair of his." And your legacy lives on. I love you, Ken.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'm getting to you. My mother is always the most patient person in the world. So, Mom, would you like to come up and say something now? I was trying to give anybody else a chance. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most famous people in my dad's life. This is my mom, Noel Custer.
Well, people sometimes ask us how we met, so I thought I would tell you the story of how we met. I was in college at Stevens in Missouri, and it was my sophomore year, and Ken was doing his National Guard 6-month active duty in Fort Leonard Wood. He'd come up to Columbia on the weekends, and that's how we met. When I went home at Christmas, I told my mother about this kind of cute guy I met. And she said, "Oh, where does he live?" I said, "I don't know, South End or someplace," because we lived in East End. And she said, "What's his name?" And I said, "Ken Custer." And she kind of looked around and she said, you know what? If you will go get out your baby book, there is a picture of him at your first birthday party. And there was.
What?
We lived 3 houses apart. And so the picture shows 2 little tables with babies with bottles. That's me and my twin brother. And Ken and his sister and some other little boy from the neighborhood were standing behind us. So he always said we didn't have any choice but to get married. It's only lasted 57 years. So.
And Mom had a chance to actually pull one of my things out. So I want to share a little bit about my dad with everybody. It won't be long, don't worry. My daughter told me that at her wedding last weekend I had no more than 5 minutes to give a talk, and I said, well, that's easy. I think I'll just simply say, well, Taylor's not much, but Jared is as good as she could do. Let's go drink.
Boo.
Fortunately for me, I did not do that. So, as Mom said, Dad lived about half a block south of South High School, and that's where he went to school. He was a track star and a class officer there. We already talked about how he met my mom, but after college, Dad went on to go be a cameraman and got one of his first real jobs, full-time jobs, at KLZ. KLZ has subsequently become KMGH. At the time, before the networks did a bunch of trading around, that was the CBS affiliate in Denver. Dad told me a story one time about how he remembers being at Bronco Stadium, and it was Mile High Stadium at the time, in the south stands as a cameraman, and you had to belt in and hold on because the south stands would start rocking every time they played the Raiders so much. It was scary to be a cameraman up on top. Yeah. And a lot of these pictures are just coming up of Dad when he was young and as a cameraman. I think he had every job he could have at KLZ or KMGH at the time. Was it still KMGH when you were there? No, they waited until afterwards to rename it. The real station then, the 3-letter station. He had about every job there was there, I think except for station manager, which he said wasn't worthy of him at the time, but he chose not to do that one. But when he transferred jobs, he moved all the way across the street. Literally, when he went from sales side into the agency side, he went to Fox, Sweeney and True. It was actually across the street from Channel 7 at the time. At that point, he dealt with some small unknown brands. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. Brands that dealt with Coors, Pizza Hut, 7-Up, some of the small brands like that. Those are accounts that my dad managed. During that time, he decided to have 2 sons. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But after that, you know what happens when you do a good job for a client? They hire you and they want you to come work full-time for them. Well, that's what Dad did. He went to work with 7-Up. He did such a good job that 7-Up was acquired. How long after you started? About 3 years later, they got acquired. And what happens to every single person, maybe some of you, maybe not, I don't know, but you know what happens at a certain age, you get to the point where you say, well, 1, I can do this on my own, and 2, I'm now unemployable. Nobody will hire me, so I can't get a job. I'll start my own agency. At the time, Dad and Phil started their own agency together. It was right around then that his techno geek son, which would have been me, was changing jobs and gave Dad my old broken down computer. It was one called a Macintosh SE. If you guys remember, that was the most advanced version of the Cube computer that Apple ever made. Well, a little while after using it, he calls me up and says, you can do desktop publishing on a Macintosh. I go, yeah, that's part of the idea. He says, well, that's really cool. So I went and bought a magazine. I said, Dad, tell me you went to King's. Tell me you went to King's and bought Sports Illustrated or Better Homes and Garden. I said, no. He says, I are a publisher now. In Advertising and Marketing Review, Dad became the publisher and editor. Over the years, you guys have known it as Advertising Marketing Review, the AM Review, the Review, etc. Dad has had several iterations, and the magazine has grown, and now it's set up for a great brand new future with you.
Yeah.
Right? So we're pretty excited about that. Dad, I think the reason he kept the magazine for so many years is because he wants to make sure he keeps getting invited to all your social events. So please, that's what keeps him going, and it also keeps him out of my mother's hair. So the whole family would appreciate keep inviting Dad to come. Dad ran the magazine now for 25 plus years. It was 27? 26 years, Dad ran the magazine. It was his heart and soul, and it was his chance to communicate and give back to the retired community, which he loved to do. During the time when I was growing up, I had a father that taught me and my brother how to fish and how to camp and how to ski. Dad was at this small ski area started up in 1963, 64. A year after they started, Dad decided to join the ski patrol there. It was a small area, you guys maybe have heard of it, it's called Vail. Dad ended up being the ski patrol leader, one of the largest ski patrol systems in the United States. It was constantly ranked in the top patrols in the country, including one of the years in which you were patrol leader, right? Yep, we're going with that. Kind of the recognition of that is the fact that the only time I saw my parents ever disagree was when this thing in 1973, 74 came about called the Olympics. The Olympics were coming to Colorado, and Dad had been selected to become the ski patrol coordinator for the U.S. Olympic Committee and for all the venues should the Olympics come here. It kind of gives you a recognition of what people thought of his leadership and his capabilities. That lived true throughout his entire life. My dad tolerated 20 years of Boy Scout camping, which is quite remarkable. My brother and I are 11 years apart from each other. And since my brother's not here, I think I can get away with saying this. I was at lunch one time with my dad, and I said, "What would you do differently?" Talking about the magazine. He grabbed my hand and says, "Don't space them 11 years apart." So I got it. That's because that means you have Boy Scout camping for 20 years. So, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that everyone knows about my dad, hold on, making sure I get my notes out here, deals a lot with who inspired him and who kept him going and who supported us. And I also want to just take a chance to acknowledge my mom. It's his partner, it's been his best friend, it's been somebody who stood beside him, and when we did all the crazy things, she was the one who supported us. And I want to acknowledge that, and also say the fact that his partner is best friend, and dare be it, I'll have to say also his lover. Keeps me out of his But Mom, thank you for all the years of supporting Dad. Thank you very much. He has many honors that he's received. One of the best ones that he was able to watch just recently was that my mother being inducted to the Colorado Broadcast Hall of Fame. Not everyone in the industry here knows there is such a thing, but my mom had a television show for 16 years, and we recently got to watch her inducted into that. So we're kind of a family that's dipped into the media, the advertising, the marketing, the broadcast culture here in town. No, I did not follow that path. I went capitalism instead of giving back that way. He's given a lot back to, and one of the things he's very proud of is the recognition that all of you guys have given him, from being Communicator of the Year to most recently being recognized by the BMA for his lifetime achievement. I know these things mean a lot to him because when we moved him into his new office, these are the plaques and the things that he posted most prominently in his office so that he could still see them every day and know that it's like. I can say that I know that the most precious thing he sees is the fact that you guys showed up here. And so for my family, my dad has 4 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild as of last Saturday. He has a newly added grandson-in-law. But from all of us in our family, the sisters here, all of us, we want to say thank you very much for taking the time to honor my dad, because to me, it's a great honor the fact that he is my dad, and I get to model my life after him. Thank you, Dad.
Beer down, beer down.
I didn't prepare a speech. I think the best thing I can say is any success I have had for the last 26 years is because of the people, a lot of them in this room, in the organizations, and the great advertising marketing community that is in Colorado. Some of the people here have taken everything to the next level and made Colorado a real marketing mecca in the United States. And I look around at people who, in the old Rocky Mountain Direct Marketing Association, who really built an organization, people in the Business Marketing Association, American Marketing Association, Ad Club Denver, and even the Film Commission. Stephanie, thank you for being here. You folks have made this industry in Colorado a national place to come and find talent and creativity. And because of that, that's what helped me make the magazine what it was for the time I had it, and what it's going to be in the future as Carleen takes over on it. Please support her, because she's going to do every bit of what I did and a lot more.
I hope so.
So thank you for coming, and I appreciate it. And we had some great times, and hopefully we're going to have some more. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, now don't go anywhere, pal. You got to help cut cake. That's you. So we have cake. Come on up and get cake. They're still doing some tastings. Where's Tyler? Tyler, raise your hand.
20% off of,
And there's 20% off of anything that you want to get here from Spirits.
to buy bottles.
To buy a bottle.
And then
Thank you.
There's a fun cash.
You want to just...
Yeah. Take the mic.
So,
Take the
guys,
mic.
this is how my life goes. When I talk to my dad, my mother tells him what to tell me.
Hey, you guys, that was beautiful, Ken. There's a fun donation box up front if you want to throw in a donation, so Ken can take his lovely wife on a little trip somewhere. And then you sign the poster, and also Mile High Spirits. We love you guys. Thank you so much. If you want to buy any of their bottles, it's 20% off their employees discount. You can buy it right here at the bar.
Come.
Oh, and the cake.
Come eat cake.
Do I can blow out a candle?
So come eat cake.
I mean cake.
Come eat cake.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for coming by. And stay as long as you want. The bar will continue to gladly serve people. So thank you, everybody.
So here.